I think if we're going to have the discussion, does the patriarchy help women? Is it a detriment to women? As well as, is it helpful to men? Is it a detriment to men? I think, while most of you probably know what the word means, I think for those who may not, it's important to establish what the hell we're talking about when we say the word patriarchy. What does it actually mean? So, if you were to look it up right now, the main definition would be a system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family and descent is traced through the male line. Now, given that we have the rise of single mother households, broken homes, divorce, all these things, it's abundantly clear to me that the two parent household where things are stable, this is not a given anymore, especially in the West. Might be a bit more stability in the East, but once the ideologies that permeate throughout Western culture inevitably make it to Eastern shores, they will follow suit. They may be a bit behind us, but they will catch up inevitably and be where we are now. And, you know, when women say something like the idea that descent traced through the male line is a bad thing, no, it isn't. There are evolutionary reasons why it is so, right? Maternity assurance is guaranteed. It popped out of you. You know it's yours. You slap the man's last name on it because that's his way of making it known. It's his. That's why it has always been that way. The second definition they have here is a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. Women always say this: we're excluded. No, you aren't. 25% of senators are female. About 30% of representatives are female. 4 out of 9 Supreme Court justices are female. That to me does not sound like women are excluded from the political process. In fact, given the fact that they don't have to sign up for the draft and die for what they believe in, they have been given a lot of ground. And we see what happens when you give someone the power to vote, but they do not have to back it up and fight for it. They take it for granted and they vote with their feelings. They don't think about logistics. This is why back in the days when voting was a thing, people had to sign up for the draft or they had to own property. Why? Because it ensured that you had skin in the game. When you have skin in the game, you tend to think a lot more critically about who you vote for and what is aligned with the interests of you and your family and your loved ones. But when you don't have to worry about that because it's just as simple as, hey, vote for me and I'll give you free stuff, we have what we have today. And the last definition is kind of a throwaway, just a society or community organized on patriarchal lines. Well, we know how subservient the fathers are in the household in this day and age, right? The man just has to sit there and take it and deal with all the honey-do lists while the woman is strong and brave. And fathers really don't play any role in, selecting men for their daughters anymore. None of that really is relevant in the West. You hear a girl or a guy from an Eastern country tell you about how their families play a huge role in the mate selection process. People in the West will look at you like the moon is made of cheese. You look at it in our culture, everyone is free to choose who they want on paper. But in reality, what this translates to is most men getting cut out, most men not making the cut. And another reason why this is the case is because of inflated hypergamy, right? This so-called patriarchy that oppresses women has allowed them to join the workforce, make their own money, build their own social networks, do everything that men do. We invented the birth control pill, the biological game changer. They can have sex like men and they do not have to pay the consequences of 9 months. And they can go and make a baby, egg, and cheese if the pill doesn't work. And on top of that, the man has absolutely zero say in whether or not the child is kept or not. But if she decides to keep the child, she can hit him up for child support. Does that sound like oppression to you? It does not sound like oppression to me. It sounds like what we did is we stepped on our own tails. That's what it sounds like we did. It sounds like we had a good idea on paper, but in reality, it bit us in the ass. So, no, if anything, this so called patriarchy, it's definitely converted into a whole new beast. And we tend to refer to it as gynocentrism, where men are just seen as disposable, they're useless, they're obsolete. And as someone in your chat already said, They continue to have this mindset until something like a Ukraine happens. Then all of a sudden, oh, wait, now we want the old system back. Women can only see things like masculinity and traditionalism through a lens in which it benefits them. They don't look at masculinity as something that is good unless it benefits them. So if it does not benefit them, for example, a man asserting his boundaries, a man saying, hey, the way you are treating me right now is unacceptable, they view that as toxic. And the sad thing is that everything women say, no matter how stupid it is taken seriously, and men will accept it because they want to fuck them. So when you have people like me sitting here, what do you get? You get gaslighting, you get incel, you get ad hominem, you get you're absolutely crazy. But every man in this chat right now knows exactly what I'm talking about. They live it every day. Even in my own workplace, sitting at the table, talking to girls, talking about these types of topics, they will be very, very dismissive unless your problems affect them. Then all of a sudden, empathy magically falls out of the sky. So from where I sit, no, it is not women that are not benefiting from patriarchy. In fact, when they can see it from a lens that benefits them, that's when all of a sudden they start demanding chivalry and traditionalism, only when it benefits them. Otherwise, they want to get rid of it because it limits them, because they don't want to hold up their end of the bargain. So as far as I'm concerned, it's men getting the raw deal here. Men are losing. Women are winning. By necessity, if one is winning, the other must lose. And obviously, there are a lot of manosphere channels. There are not a lot of womanosphere channels because they don't need it. They're getting what they want out of this. And they have a huge part of the voter base. And this is why the people in charge are kind of doing what they want, not what we want. And I'd say that's pretty much the long and short of it. The short answer is abundantly clear. No, patriarchy is not oppressing women. The institutions from patriarchy are probably now backfiring on men. It's screwing us over. We have a divorce court that was designed for like 1950s, 1960s type life, and the laws have not changed. It's still tailored to that. So I look at it and think, no, these girls can go out and make as much money as me, if not more, because of affirmative action, and they can still hit me up in court. What kind of bullshit is that? And yeah, this is why we have to have these conversations. And if there's any women in the chat watching, I know you're uncomfortable right now. I know you don't like it, but it is what it is. And if you don't like it and it really does disturb you that much, keep listening. I think that's a good starting point.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Yay!